Hello, everyone. I'm Dr. Janki Lavingya, an epileptologist practicing at Zydus Hospital's Ahmedabad. Today, on Purple Day, which is Epilepsy Global Awareness Day, I have one of my former patients, Alison Isenhour, with us to share her experience about epilepsy. Hi, Alison. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us today.
I'm glad.
Alison, could you please tell us a little bit about your epilepsy? When did it start? What were your symptoms?
I was 26 years old when I had my first seizure. I was outside working in the yard, and all of a sudden I just felt goofy and came inside to get out of the sun and laid down on the ground and had my first grand mal seizure. First one I've ever had. And 3 months later, I was diagnosed with epilepsy. So that's kind of how my journey started and just where we went from there. We just realized that, hey, there's something going on, and what do we need to do about it?
Must be very scary with the new diagnosis. What kind of symptoms were you having, Alison, as part of your epilepsy?
I was having a lot of just confusion. There would be times where I just didn't understand what was going on, or I would be confused where I was, even though I was in a very, comfortable place or someplace I knew well. And my memory, I had a really hard time remembering things from my past, and I had a really hard time just learning new information. Going to school at the time I was in college, and it made it a lot harder. Studying got it was about 3 times as much time as it normally would have taken, but did the best I could, and I had to take a break for a little while to get healthy, or as healthy as I could at the time. But I went back and I ended up graduating, but it was a fight. It really was.
So yes, we know that people with epilepsy can have other medical conditions, and commonly we know they are more prone to have mood disorders, especially anxiety, depression, as well as memory problems, as you just pointed out. So how did it affect your daily routine?
It made things more difficult because I would forget what my routine was, or certain things that were a part of it that I was normal to doing my entire life, but for some reason it was just like, oh, hey, and you kind of forget that, I'm supposed to do this. Like you said, affecting mood, I was all over the place. I was happy, I was sad, I was angry and mean, and I didn't know why. My emotions weren't, funding it or, making it thrive. But my emotions were all over the place. My mood was not pretty.
All right. So let's talk about treatment, Alison. So you tried several different anti-seizure medications. And then finally, you had brain surgery. Any surgery is a big surgery. But when it comes to brain surgery, it scares most people. So if you could tell us what made you decide to go for brain surgery, and share with us a little bit about your surgical and post-surgical experience.
Throughout my battle with epilepsy, I had to try a lot of different medications to see what would work. And not only did we try different medications, but we tried different combinations to see what would work good together. But unfortunately, we were able to get my grand mals to stop, but I was having other types of seizures, and it kept me from living my life. And the more medications we tried, the more I knew that, that just might not work for me, and I could live the rest of my life with seizures. And once we talked about other options, and, we looked into the testing that we could do to find out the best information going into brain surgery, which was terrifying, but I knew I had to try it. I knew I had to do everything I could to make my life better, to get my life back. all the great results that we got, it made me feel so confident that we were doing the right thing. And I walked in there that morning into the hospital and I had a smile on my face.
So it's been 2 years, right?
It has.
Almost, it will be 2 years.
Yeah, it's getting close.
How are you doing after surgery? 2 years.
2 years out, I'm doing great. The pain has been gone for months now. There was always that lingering pain that kind of came and went, and usually it was activity dependent.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not taking any medications for pain anymore. Not even Tylenol. And, my strength's coming back, my coordination's coming back, all the little things when you have surgery that slow you down.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm getting my speed back. I'm getting able to do things that I couldn't do, that I haven't been able to do for a decade.
That's great. That's great. And you're back, you're working now?
I am.
So that's great.
Yeah, it's the first time that I have been able to work in the past 7 years.
Wow.
And it feels amazing that I got here. And I know that I got here because we took the steps and we did the tests and we did the surgery.
That is so wonderful, Alison. I would like to thank you again for taking time to tell people watching this video your experience, especially on this special day, Purple Day.
Yeah.
I think despite a lot of advances in the medical field, patient education and awareness is something we still need to continue to work on. A lot of people with epilepsy may not even know that if they have tried 2 or more seizure medications and they still have uncontrolled seizures, they may have what we call drug-resistant epilepsy. And as you pointed out, you had different other types of seizures. Most people think of seizures as when they fall down unconscious and shake in all extremities. But there are other types of seizures. As with you, Alison, your seizures mainly later on consisted of feeling of fear or panic attacks. Some people experience just feeling of deja vu or abnormal sensation on one side of the body and so forth. So it's so important to be aware of different types of seizures as well. And about drug-resistant epilepsy, patients should be aware that it's not the end to the treatment options. We have several 20+ seizure medications available to be used in various combinations. And even if their seizures are not controlled, despite trying different medications, there are other options. Surgical options, epilepsy brain surgery, where we remove the part of the brain that we think is causing the seizures, or other various neuromodulation devices, ketogenic diet, and so forth. Is there any final message that you would like to send to all the patients with epilepsy and their families?
I always like to share with people that I connect with or that I meet that have epilepsy to not let it define you. Not let it make it, I am Alison and I have epilepsy. Find your I am Alison again. And just don't be afraid to take the steps and find out everything that you can. Because there's so many options and there's so many tests out there. And, answer or ask every question that you have and see where it can take you. It changed my life. It did, Doc. It changed my life. And awesome. I would go back and I would walk through that door with a smile on my face into the hospital again. I would do it again in a heartbeat.
That is so great to hear, Alison. And I'm so glad that you're doing so well. And my message to all the patients, it's along the same lines that epilepsy is nothing to fear. So please speak up and spread the word. because together we can make the difference.
We can.